Welcome to another episode of Money Moves with Debt Rescue. This week we're going to be talking about current events and what is currently happening in the news and how it affects us. In the past 2 weeks we've seen quite some dramatic impact on our economy and in our lives. The biggest of which is the unemployment rate as well as the impact of the fuel price. Unemployment has hit new record highs. We expected this. We know that this is still part of the fallout from the impact of the pandemic on our economy and is still leading to job losses. The reality is now that more than 35% of working able South Africans are unemployed. This is obviously very, very concerning because this has direct impact on households where there's now lack of income. The bulk of this currently sitting amongst our youth as well. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and we know that government is sitting with a lot of plans on how they're going to be addressing this. But truthfully speaking, this is something that we're hoping is going to come through a lot sooner rather than later. Some more information that was released recently by the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group shows that their measure of the household food index basket price has continued to increase both year on year as well as month on month. They measure the cost of basic goods that South Africans would buy month on month and how the prices thereof increase. And the fact that food prices have increased year on year on these basic ingredients in our food baskets by more than 10% is an indication of how the real impact of us as consumers and what it does to our budgets is very, very negative at the moment. Finally, we know that, of course, with the conflict currently in Ukraine, there has been quite a bit of discussion around the impact on the price of wheat and the fact that South Africa imports around 30% of its wheat annually from that region. This could lead to most likely wheat prices increasing, which is of course a staple for most South Africans where, for example, in the form of bread, we need that wheat for our bread, and the prices could potentially also be pushed even higher of another basic staple in our budgets every month. The second big event has obviously been governments coming to the rescue of South African consumers by bringing some form of relief from the expected fuel price hikes. Though the price of fuel is still going up, it's not as much as had been intended when, at the beginning of the month, we knew that the impact of the conflict currently in Ukraine was going to have significant impact. One of the recommendations put forward by government has been the deregulation of 93-octane petrol. So what this would mean is it could make the price significantly more competitive for us as consumers, but it could have the drawback, of course, that with your smaller suppliers that they could potentially not be able to compete with your bigger suppliers, so it could possibly reduce their prices a bit more. So though there's been some big news coming out in the past week or so with regards to the impact on us as consumers, it's not been all complete bad news. We know that government is looking at ways to help reduce the impact of the fuel price on us as consumers, and hopefully some brilliant solutions will be found that we can see some reversal in these increases and not just a reduction of future increases. That's it for this week's episode of Money Moves with Debt Rescue. Thank you for joining us, and remember to click on the subscribe button, and please leave any comments in the bottom if there's anything you'd like us to discuss.